Hey everybody. Ooh, let me turn my sound down there. How we doing? Welcome to Answers with Joe. Welcome to the live Wednesday show. If you're watching live, welcome. I appreciate you joining. And happy Wednesday. If you're watching this in the future, thanks for watching as well. And I want to thank our robot overlords for allowing me my weekly protein bar. I got a few things I wanted to share with you. First of all, obviously what's in the title is the Blue Origin launch of the new Shepard, which was really cool. I will talk about that in just a minute. And I'm going to give you guys a little fair warning. I actually had a root canal this morning, and I'm a little bit hopped up on pain meds. So all you people who say I look stoned in my videos, this is the one time you're actually a little right. So we'll see how this one goes. I might actually have to delete this one when I'm done with it. It might be that bad, or it might be super entertaining. We'll see. Anyway, for all of you who might be joining, and this is a new thing, the Wednesday live thing, if you haven't been to one of these before, if you don't really know how this works, I basically, throughout my week, as I do my research and my interneting, I find stuff that I think is interesting, that I think you guys would be interested in, and I collect them and I share them on my Wednesday live streams, very clumsily. And I basically am going to go through these. There's people in the live chat, and I'll welcome all of you. It's nice to see you all there. I'll be responding to whatever questions you may have in a little segment at the end. I call it the Live 5. I basically set a timer. For 5 minutes, I answer questions to the best of my ability. It'll be really interesting today. But so anyway, if you have questions, save them for that time. You guys feel free to chat with each other in the chat, and because that's why it's called a chat. And we'll go from there. But yeah, no, let's jump right into it. So I try to keep these fairly short, these live streams. Otherwise, I'll just keep on going and going. So so Blue Origin launched their new Shepard vehicle this last week. I think it was Monday, I believe. My buddy Tim over at the Everyday Astronaut did a great live stream of it. They had some delays for atmospheric reasons and whatnot, so it got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So his live stream's like 3 hours long. I'm sure he was pulling his hair out. But it was a successful launch, and I should have these numbers in front of me, but I don't. They've had several successful launches in a row. And I know that later this year, they are planning on doing their first launches with people on board. And that's exciting, man, to finally have some kind of human-manned space thing happening right now. And it's more of a space tourism thing. It's not so much like traveling up to the ISS or anything. I covered all this in a Blue Origin video that I did a little while back. I know a lot of people poo-poo Blue Origin, and they think it's not for real, and they're kind of like, yeah, it's just, suborbital and that kind of thing. But this stuff matters. This stuff is cool, and it's important, and it's just their first step to getting a much, much, much bigger rocket off the ground called the New Glenn. I'm just going to play this while I'm talking, because why not? They reached an apogee of 351,000 feet. Now, I will say, when I was watching it live, their goal was to hit 350,000, and it looked in their live stream that they only got the 347, so it looked like they were off by a few thousand feet. But that might have been like preliminary measurements, and after later on they took a look back at it and realized that they beat it by 1,000 feet. That might be the case. But New Shepard, it goes up. They did some experiments. You can see the little ball flying around there in 0G up in space. And this video that you're watching right now, they just posted this on their YouTube channel. This is really more of a promotional thing, obviously, but the New Shepard, it lands just like the SpaceX vehicles do. They have had a stellar track record on landing those. When the capsule lands right there, you see that big puff? It looks like it's just landing and catching a lot of dirt, but that's actually not what's going on. They actually have thrusters underneath that kind of blast just before it hits the ground. So if you were watching as it's cruising down with the parachutes, it's kind of fun to watch it, and you can see the stats and the data up on screen. It was coming down at like 14 miles an hour. So I mean, even if it hits at 14 miles an hour, that's like getting, lightly rear-ended. It's not really that bad. But they blast these thrusters right at the last second. That's where all that dust came from. Here, I'll play it again just to reiterate what I'm saying. By the way, I love this shot. They got a drone shot, but you see right there, like, poof. it kind of looks like it's just hitting the ground, but there's actually thrusters that are like blasting out dirt right there at the end, and it slows it down to like 1 or 2 miles an hour. So it's a very light, very gentle landing that makes the whole thing very, very easy to do. I got to be honest, once they get a few of these up, once they have a few of these launches under their belt, I would totally line up for this kind of thing. Not that I can afford it, but I would love to do this. I would love to go up in the new Shepard and experience that 4 minutes. And they've got these giant windows. You can literally just sit there and look down and see the curvature of the Earth and everything. I would be there in a heartbeat. I think that's amazing. It's comparable more to what Virgin Galactic is doing. Virgin Galactic has a totally different way of doing it. They go up in a, what do they call it? It's basically paired with another ship, and then it kind of takes off from there. I talked about that in a previous live stream as well. But this is exciting stuff, and I really can't wait to see where they go with this over the next few years. I know that the new Glenn is supposed to start getting off the ground in 2020, so I mean we've only got a year and a half before that happens. And then of course, you know, SpaceX with their BFR on the way. It's just such a cool time, man. We're really getting to see some cool stuff happening right now, and I'm super excited for it. Luckily, I talk about this kind of stuff, so good for me. Speaking of SpaceX, I believe this was a tweet that Ilan sent out, but he shared a picture of a bunch of ads, apparently. This is where everybody tells me to get ad block. I know. No, so there's been a lot of talk from Ilan about recovering the fairings, the payload fairings. And there's multiple reasons for this. So SpaceX is all about reusing their rockets, reusing all of their stuff so that they save money on the cost of producing the rockets and that kind of thing. But it's not just that. It's also that, they are about to start dedicating a lot of their resources toward the BFR. As we've seen in other places, they've already got the mold that they use to create the carbon fiber hull of the BFR. He's already kind of got that. He shared that with a picture of a Model 3 right next to it. But anyway, they're starting to dedicate a lot of their resources toward the BFR. Like I can't tell you how excited I am about that. Like it's actually a thing that's in the works right now. But part of that is reducing the amount of effort and time that they are putting into the Falcon 9. And part of that is recovering as much of it as they possibly can. So it's not just about saving money on making these fairings. It's also about like saving space, like factory space. The space that they're using right now to build fairings for every single launch could be cut down and be using that space for the BFR. That's part of what they're trying to do right now. So anyway, he's been talking about recovering the space fairings, and this was a picture. I think this is the first time we've seen anything like this. But you can see right here, I'm pointing at it with my arrow, and you can't see it. But that's the fairing in a parachute. So they actually have a little parasail that comes out from the fairing and kind of slows it down. So what's happened right now, okay, so they have that, and there's apparently some little thrusters on the fairing that actually guides where they want it to land. So the system is basically this. Let me just break it down the best I can here. The fairings, they launch, they break off. I've got sound effects now. And then the fairings fall back to Earth. And in the past, they just fell like these, hundreds of pounds of metal that they are, and just crashing into the ocean, and eventually it becomes a habitat for, sea slugs. But what they're trying to do is they got this parasail, so it starts coming back down. The parasail launches, and it kind of guides it back down. It's got retro thrusters that kind of guide it where they want it to go. And ultimately what they want to do is catch it in this ship that they have called the Mr. Stevens. I'm not sure what that refers to. If anybody knows, let me know, because I've been curious about that. But it's basically a giant trawler that has a net. It's a giant catcher's mitt out in the middle of the ocean. So what they want to do is actually be able to guide it down and just catch it in that net in Mr. Stevens and then haul it back to port. They have not been able to successfully catch it yet, but they have been able to do some soft water landings. I don't know if it's soft enough to be able to reuse the fairings yet, but this is the plan. This is what they're working on, and this is the first picture that I've seen of them actually using this. And I just thought that was a really cool picture. I just never seen that before. But that's what this article is about. By the way, everything I'm talking about here, I've got links down in the description. Please do go check them out, because they obviously go into much better detail than I am doing here. But this is from Ars Technica. So anyway, yeah, I thought this was interesting, and I thought it put a new, not spin, but a new angle on the whole payload fairing recovery thing. It's not just about saving money for, lowering the cost of Falcon 9 launches for their clients. That's also part of it, but it's also the exciting part of it is that they're doing it so that they can focus more resources on BFR. That's awesome. That gets me excited. I had one more little story, and I almost decided not to share this, but I've been doing 3 stories for each one of these live streams, so I thought I'd go ahead and include it. I almost didn't, simply because everything else is about space stuff, and this is totally not about space stuff, and also because there's like no way I could actually describe what this is going on in detail without just reading it to you, and I won't put you through that. But there's been some cool experiments on the way. I thought this was interesting enough to share. And again, the link's in the description. Please go check it out because it's interesting. And I'm gonna totally just destroy the description here. But I've talked on the channel many times about quantum stuff. Quantum entanglement is really interesting. And as we start talking about quantum computers, quantum entanglement is a huge part of that. To make the computers do what they need to do. But also there's all other kinds of applications, as it talks about in this article, from being able to measure things in certain ways. There's just so many applications to being able to effectively and strategically use quantum entanglement in various ways to produce things. Did I mention I'm high on pain meds right now? Okay. Anyway, but this article is talking about some new experiments that are being done that are actually kind of bringing this quantum entanglement weirdness, which it says right there in the title, to nearly macroscopic scales. There's sort of a debate going on. It's like, at what size does the quantum world turn into the classical physical world that you and I experience? And that boundary keeps getting pushed. It used to just be particles like protons and neutrons, electrons, that kind of thing, photons. But then it became atoms, like small atoms are actually experiencing things, like we're seeing actual results from flinging atoms in a double slit experiment type situation. And I've actually heard it's gone up to full molecules for some types of experiments. So they're actually finding ways now to entangle atoms of sizes bigger than we thought was possible in these experiments that they're doing. And again, these are very complex, detailed experiments, and I'm not going to try to explain them to you. I'm just going to lead you to this article if this is something you're interested in. It's definitely worth reading. But it's really interesting stuff, and it's interesting in the sense that it could be many years, maybe even decades, before these kinds of findings actually produce something tangible that we can use in our technology and that kind of thing. But it's always that first step and that first breakthrough that starts the process to getting there. So that's exciting, and it's also, again, just pushing the boundaries of where quantum and classical stop and start. That boundary keeps being pushed, and it's really interesting. Anyway, so those are the stories I wanted to talk about. How about, let me go back to my big camera, and I'm going to bring up that timer for the live 5, y'all. I'm from Texas, y'all knew that. So yeah, I'm going to jump into the live chat and answer some questions. It'll probably go a little bit longer than 5 minutes. It usually does. But if you got something interesting that you want to talk about, fire away. And then we can wrap this up and get on with our day. Okay, let's see what we got here. Pain meds for the win, says Paul. Yes, it's actually kind of nice. I'm rather enjoying it. Matthew Ray, how's the fasting going for you? That was my Monday video. I talked about the intermittent fasting thing. It's going pretty well. I didn't I didn't fast so well today because I got done with my root canal and I was like, I'm gonna go have me a coffee and some breakfast. I think I earned that after having somebody drill a hole in my head. Let's see. My screen is glitching. Yeah, I'm noticing that. What's that about? Hopefully it stops soon. Sorry about that, guys. The big camera is very sexy. Ooh. Everybody's talking about the glitching, so there we go. Hello from Mexico, says Raul Mitre. Hello back to you. Jan W, what do I think? Or maybe it's Jan. What do you think about ESA? Well, I'll do a video about it. I will be doing a video about ESA. I'm trying to cover all the different space agencies, private and public, around the world. I think Rocket Lab is going to be my next one, and they're doing some really interesting stuff. So yes, I will be covering ESA, absolutely. What are the odds that BFR will actually work? I think it's pretty good. They'll make it work. Will SpaceX make a space station? Says Inda Murphy. I see nothing in the works on that. I think actually Blue Origin might be more interested in a space station than SpaceX. They're more interested in going to Mars, it seems like. Hey, Andrew Nordgren, thank you for that, sir, for that tip. What do I think about Trump's comment on Space Army? Comment on Space Army? Is that what you're trying to say? I don't have an answer to that because I don't think I know what you're talking about. Did he say there's something about a space army? I mean, look, the U.S. military's been in space from day one, so that's nothing new. The Space Force is what Nebuchadnezzar says. Let's see. Lydia Castillo. Now that I'm a full-time YouTuber, will I be doing meetups or live shows? Well, I'm doing a live show. I maybe you mean like an in-person live show. That's something I'd like to do eventually. I've actually been thinking about doing some meetups. I mean, I'm here in Dallas. I just don't know how many people in Dallas actually watch the show. I don't know how many people would show up to something like that here. That could happen. I'm actually going to be in Palm Springs next week. So if there are people in Palm Springs or that area and you want to do a meetup, let me know. We might can make that happen. Let's move down. I think I got behind a little bit. N1J Josky, okay, what do I think of making a rocket building facility on the moon to prepare for going to planets? So that's sort of like what NASA has in mind with the Deep Space Gateway. It's not actually on the moon, it's actually in orbit around the moon. I'm still glitching, aren't I? Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what to do about that without stopping the live stream. So yeah, a rocket building facility on the moon to prepare for going to planets. Well, actually, so the Deep Space Gateway is not a rocket building facility. It's really more just like a jumping off point. What do I think of that idea? I think that'd be great. We would obviously have to have some kind of colony on Mars first before you could create a factory there. So that would be way out in the future. Michael Wade, we have spoken. Good to meet you, man. Thanks for joining. I lost your comment. Where did it go? I need to figure out a new comment system here. Okay, wait, I'm getting backed up. Sorry. I'll extend my 5 minutes because I'm losing people here. All right, hang on here. Robin Trigoso asks, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, NASA, or Blue Origin. Okay, so I get this question a lot. I got this question for the lightning round video, and I'm not going to totally spoil my answer that I'm going to give on that, but I don't like the question, frankly, because it's not a question. It's just, you just kind of listed 4 companies and then put a question mark at the end of it. Like, what about it? Like, I don't think they're in competition, and I don't think it has to be one or the other. I'm just excited that there's so many things going on right now, and they all are kind of serving their own niches. I never know which way to say that word. And I refuse to say yes one over another. I think it's just good that they're all doing it. So sorry if that was a bit of an attitude on that answer, but that's how I feel. What Clucky? Thank you for your tip, sir. What are my views on nanotechnology? My views on nanotechnology? Oh, my timer just went up. I'll keep talking, guys, because I know I got stuck there for a second. And we all want to see more glitches, so we got to keep this train going. What are my views on nanotechnology? I I don't know that I have any strong opinions one way or another. I actually haven't heard any. I haven't heard any real news lately on nanotech or any advancements on that. I like the idea of like biological machines, nanotech that can go into our bodies and repair cells and tissues and stuff like that. But I guess I'm for it. I don't know what to say much more than that because I haven't researched it that much. Maybe I should do a video on that. There's a lot of things I need to do a video about. I gotta say, when I was collecting all these questions, and I've got a whole ton of them, Robin says, good answer with another tip. Thank you for that. Going through all the lightning round questions, which there's a lot. If you follow me on Twitter, I went on there today, and I've got over 220 questions for the lightning round video. It's going to be more than one video. But I'm getting lots of great questions from you guys, and I'm really like it's funny. That's one crazy thing about running this channel is I always think I'm like at the limit. Like, what else could I possibly talk about? You know, I'm always part of the grind of running a YouTube channel is you got to put out a video. You're just constantly putting out content, and I'm always worried I'm going to run out of things to talk about or things to do videos about. And then I put out a thing like, hey, you guys ask me some questions, and I get all these questions, and it's like, God, I haven't even heard of half this stuff. This is really cool. So maybe I should be doing that more. You guys are giving me a lot of great ideas, and I appreciate that. Dr. Dragon, when does the new Armstrong when will the new Armstrong start going up? It's going to be in the future. I'm putting in at least 5 years before we even see plans for it. I mean, they got to get the new Glenn off the ground first. They honestly have not even released sketches or anything like that. So it's going to be a while before the new Armstrong. It's really just they have a naming convention. That's basically what it comes down to. Oh, I can show that. Robert Link, it's hid your question, but you're asking about Cankerboy. Can you get Cankerboy stuff in Germany? It all right now is through the website, cankerboy.com. I do ship internationally. It's a little extra for international shipping. It takes a while, but you can get it there, I believe. I believe you can get it to Germany. Triple X Jesus 666 Triple X. Or Jesus, it's probably Jesus. Thank you for the tip there. What would I do with Ilan money? I would like to think that I would do the same things Ilan is doing. I think that's why a lot of us like Ilan, because we like to think that if we had those kinds of resources, we would push humanity into that direction. We agree with his mission statement sort of thing, and we see somebody doing the kind of things that we would like to do. I think that's why a lot of people are such fanboys of Ilan. And while he's not a perfect human being, there's a lot of things that he's doing, especially when it comes to like his factory workers and stuff that I wish were not true and I wish could be fixed. I think I would do what he's doing. I would like to say I would do that anyway. Let's see. Let me answer one. Yeah, this glitching keeps going on. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm gonna wrap up this after one more. Let's see what else we got. Do I think quark fusion is going to be the future of energy production? See, again, never heard of quark fusion. I'm going to have to go look that up. Let's see. Oh, so Michael Garner asks, is NOAA still stopping live video from space? So let me tell you what I know about this, which is not much. So yeah, remember the Rocket Man and the Falcon Heavy launch that it got everybody going, oh my God, it's so cool. So I think there were already some rules in place about doing video from space, because there's a lot of gray area in terms of like international treaties and stuff when it comes to space, because it's not really owned by any one particular entity, public or private. So there were already some rules in place, and I think they kind of got in trouble for breaking some of those rules. I can't go into specifics because I don't have them in front of me. I'm not sure, but they did kind of crack down. It wasn't so much that they passed new rules. As far as I'm aware, they just kind of cracked down on rules that were already in place. And so, which is unfortunate, because one thing that SpaceX does really well is they make a big show of their launches. That's kind of what gets us all excited about it and everything. They have such good production quality and you know, camera work and stuff. So I don't know how much that's going to affect what they are able to do in terms of their launches, their live streams and stuff. I hope not. I hope it doesn't screw it up too much, because I really enjoy those. But that's what I know. So let's see, maybe one more. Daniel Skoog, do I think the Straddle launch has real potential once it's up and running? Isn't the first test flight planned this summer? So that's Boeing, I believe. They are supposed to start testing it this year. So there's the Orion capsule, the Straddle launch. You got Dragon 2. I don't want to put New Shepard in that category because those are all orbital. Those are all things they're going to start testing in this year, I believe, and hopefully with actual manned missions in the following year. And it's time, man. It's time we had started having some manned missions from here in the United States. It's just a shame it's been this long that we haven't. But do I think it would? I haven't done that much research on the Straddle launch. I don't have any reason to think that it wouldn't be successful. But yeah, I think it'll be a good option. I need to do more research about it, obviously. All right, so that went a little bit longer than I normally do, but I know I had some technical issues here, and I apologize for that. Kendrick Chua asks if I've met Michael from Vsauce. I've not met Michael, but I met Kevin from Vsauce at VidCon one year. So I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Thank you guys for watching, for the live people, for the dead people as well, if you're watching this later. Do check out the links in the description, especially the one about the quantum entanglement story, because I just kind of skipped over that. I just wanted to present it to you. And got a new video coming out Thursday. Next week's going to be interesting. Again, with the lightning round thing, that's my plan, is to release that next week, and it's gonna be a doozy because I got a whole bunch of them. But yeah, you guys have a great one, and I appreciate you joining, and take care of yourselves. I'll catch you later. Love you guys.